With the economy looking as brutal as it is in today's day and age, and not to mention those outrageous gas prices that are taking up at least half of our paycheck, it is extremely important for us to save money in whatever way we can. But you know that can't stop us from expanding our smelly water collection. All you really gotta do is just shop smarter and you'll be able to keep the fragrance addiction alive. Fortunately for us, there are so many alternatives to those retail mall prices nowadays. Like, prices for a simple designer fragrance are just absolutely outrageous. I don't know if those designer brands know, but that's getting into niche territory price-wise, or even worse. Lucky for us, there are countless fragrance discounters today, and we're going to be talking about a few. And I thought, why not rank them on a tier list to see which ones are truly worth checking out. Firstly, love it or hate it, we got the infamous Jomaop, otherwise known by our lovely community as Jomaop. Now when it comes to selection, they actually do pretty well. They have a little bit of everything, including dupes, niche, and designer brands. When it comes to shipping, it is very important that you check the item description. Typically, if it gives you the option for a faster shipping, you should be in the clear. This is a good indicator that your item is actually in stock and is good to go. On the other hand, if it says something like ships in 1 to 2 weeks, that means it's probably not in stock. Yeah, buddy, you might as well pre-order those summer fragrances since the winter time. Even so, they still got nothing on someone else's shipping times. You also need to spend at least $100 to get free shipping on Jomaop. Otherwise, you have to pay $5.99, which isn't bad, but still not as good as other places. Also, a lot of their prices are not really that competitive. Like, a lot of influencers will swear that they have some crazy sales, but they're actually more expensive than most. So call me crazy, but I'm not a huge fan of Jomaop. I think it's kind of mid, so I'm just going to put it at the C tier to start off the list. Next, we have an all-time favorite of mine, which is Ora Fragrance. This one has a special place in my heart. It was my first love, the first discounter I ever used. I may be biased because this spot was born and raised in Texas, like myself, which also means that I can get some pretty dang fast shipping times. All that aside, if you're just looking for a classic, popular scent, this site is really good for that. But a lot of the time, they could be missing some of the more higher tier niche fragrances. Regardless, they do have some absolutely fantastic deals on the things they do have in stock. Their free shipping minimum is also more reasonable than Jomaop's at just $69. Overall, Ora Fragrance will always be my go-to or reliable discounter, and the one that I almost always recommend to other people, especially if they are beginners and just starting off their fragrance journey. So with good prices, efficient shipping, and pretty decent selection, Ora Fragrance is definitely going in the A tier. Next, we have E-Discount Perfumes, which in my opinion is still one of the more slept on discounters out there. But I get it though, their website layout and presentation is a bit more tacky compared to others. Even I was a bit skeptical when I first ordered. But man, was I glad I did. It felt like I found a gold mine, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about best bang for your buck. This one is perfect for you, especially if you don't care too much about the presentation or box. You can get some really solid discounts. They also have a very respectable selection and pricing for niche fragrances. They also have a unique outlet section where you can save even more money on products with imperfections or lower liquid levels. And did I forget to mention you get free shipping on every order? But they do use DHL, fair warning, it could take a little bit to get to you. But you can easily upgrade to UPS ground shipping for only $4.99. Regardless, free shipping with no order minimum is such a rare gem to find nowadays. The only real downside of this site is that they don't offer Middle Eastern fragrances. But hey, that's not a problem with me. You can find those almost anywhere else. That being said, E-Discount Perfumes is probably the closest I'll ever find to GOAT status, so it is easily an S tier discounter for me. Moving on to another one that is very well loved in the community, Olfactory Factory LLC. So I'd say this is probably the go-to spot if you're looking for niche specifically. I'd say they probably have the most diverse selection and probably the best pricing for niche. For instance, they'll probably carry other brands such as City Rhythm that you can't find on your average discounter. And they'll have the best pricing by far, whenever you can find them in stock, of course. They only require you to spend $75 for free shipping, which isn't bad at all. But you do have to pay $10 if your order is under $75. Not that it matters though, let's be honest, most niche fragrances will run you well over that. So the only real downside to this site is that they have a relatively limited designer selection, and once again, no dupes to be found on this one either. But to be honest, I'm not really using those factors against these sites. It knows exactly what it wants to be, and that's a niche focused discounter, and it's pretty much the best there is at it. Next we got one that I've been using a lot and one that I've been quite loving lately, which is Sense Angel. Now on the surface, the selection and pricing of this site might seem middle of the pack, similar to that of Jomaop. But you know what they say, there's always more beauty beyond what the eye can see at the surface. The trick with this one is that if you are patient, you can find some crazy deal on any given day on some niche tester. For instance, here's just a random example. This Ora Fragrance is originally $170, but if you wait for the tester to be in stock, you only pay $80. Typically, I'll steer away from the overpriced side of the niche fragrance world, but if one day Sense Angel wakes me up with a deal that I cannot refuse, I'ma have to send it. For example, PDM Altair is one of those expensive scent profiles that I've always said you should opt out for an alternative instead. Like, I was very happy just having Cartilage Island Vanilla Dunes in my collection, and I would still highly recommend it. But when Sense Angel gives me the option for a tester at just $145, you guys already know what time it is. I'm sorry, but as a collector, it's just a no-brainer. And to no one's surprise, there was almost no difference between the cheap and expensive options. But y'all already know I just do it for the love of the game. I also have a 40 knots tester coming in later this week, which I was also able to get a great deal on. Also, even though they say they come with no cap, they've been nice enough to include one in all my tester orders so far. Also, I forgot to mention that they always have some sort of coupon code available, whether it's 15 or 10% off, which is pretty neat. As for shipping, you only need to spend $50 to get free shipping, so it's one of the better options. That being said, I don't want to overvalue it based on a couple of steals that I've been able to find there. On a daily basis, I think I would still choose one of the other discounters, so I'm just going to put it at the bottom of the A tier to be conservative. Finally, we have everyone's favorite discounter of the year and one we alluded to earlier, the Parfoms. Now at first glance, this website can look pretty amazing, like you have all of these countless different choices of popular niche fragrances that everybody knows and loves, and they all seem to be in stock as well. They also have these downright insane deals that'll make you question why you ever used any other discounter. On top of that, they are always celebrating some sort of holiday and offering a crazy discount code. Now this sounds like a dream, essentially the equivalent of being a kid in the candy store for us fragrance enthusiasts. But ain't no way you're expecting me to fall for that. I've been in the game for too long, fellas, and I always knew this was too good to be true. Long story short, things are not what they seem with the Parfums. Essentially, they may or may not sell you a product that's not actually in stock, and then will make you wait an eternity for them to obtain it when enough people end up ordering it from them. Listen, I decided to give them a chance, and now I'm on my third month of waiting, and we'll see how much longer it takes, because I've heard some people say they've been waiting since Black Friday. So unless you're saving an outrageous amount of money and you're willing to wait as long as it is necessary, I would say go for it. But that being said, they deserve their own tier at the bottom of everything, honestly. I don't even know what to say about them. And that'll do it. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, there were no sponsors. This was just your friendly neighborhood fragrance guy being honest and sharing his experience. That being said, pretty please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Your support means the world. And I'll see y'all in the next one.